Hola, buenas. Today we're going to open up and share with you guys the story of our lives and the reasons why we moved to Spain. That way you guys can get to know us a little bit better.
So grab your café con leche and join us on this journey. ¿Listos?
Vámonos. So Suellen and I met back in 2009 in a work environment. And of course, I know I shouldn't have pursued a romantic relationship while in work. But the first day I saw her, I just caught a fleeting glimpse of her as she walked right by me. And my intuition was sounding all the alarms and whistles. Every man to their post, red alert, you have to meet this woman, right? And so the first chance I got, I broke for lunch. She was sitting at the front desk area. And so I walked right up to her. I introduced myself. I said, "Hi, my name is Humberto Osorio. I'm about to head out to lunch. Would you like to join me?" And well, after that, the rest is history.
Of course, I said yes. And we did continue to talk. And at that moment in time, I was a single mom. So I had a then 4-year-old son. And so I wanted to be cautious of who I was speaking to and everything. And he was just so inviting, so loving at the beginning. And, he did mention that he wanted to, adopt, but he did not want to get married and he didn't want to have kids. And so, it wasn't what I was looking for, but I wanted to see where the journey ends, right?
I was pretty upfront with her about wanting to adopt children because there is a family history. My mom was a single mother at one point as well with my oldest sister when she met my father. And they eventually fell in love. And my dad raised my oldest sister like his own. And so from a very young age, I saw what a positive impact he's been on in her life. And so I grew up with that idea in mind. If I can have that sort of positive impact in a young child's life, I would definitely be excited to have that opportunity. And we started dating, and of course, as things progressed, we started getting serious. And then we became a beautiful little 3-family unit, if you will. We did everything together. In soccer games, we would take him to baseball games. We traveled all over the state of Texas for soccer tournaments. We grew together organically. And as our family grew and we traveled everywhere, we definitely had goals, right? My goals were usually more centered on work-related goals, right? Financial success, those types of goals. So Ellen here had different goals, though. She's always been a bit of a dreamer. She's the dreamer and I'm the schemer. Let's put it that way.
I know we always joke around and say, I dream these big dreams and he just makes them happen. He taught me about weights and lifting and everything. And I also had some friends that were bodybuilders, and it just looks so intriguing that these small women can lift all these weights and that they can look great and feel great. And so I was like, I kind of want this challenge. I want to move forward towards this next dream. I want to become a professional bodybuilder. And so I did that, and my poor husband had to deal with the diets and the long workouts and just being my cheerleader. And so during competition, a couple of other dreams happened that I didn't know were going to be happening.
While she was competing is when we got married. In 2016, she was in between competitions. We ended up getting married and uniting ourselves. She talked me into it, I'll say.
We celebrated a friend's birthday in Cabo that year and, did booze cruise, everything. And I was just feeling kind of off the whole time. We got back and I'm like, you know what? I'm still not right. So, I went to the doctor and the doctor was like, "Hey, looks like you got a parasite." And I'm like, "A parasite? What do you mean?" I knew I got something in Cabo. And he was like, "No, this one's going to last about 9 months." And at that point, we found out we were pregnant.
A big surprise because we had both agreed that we weren't actively going to try and have children. If it happened, it would happen. And it was about a year after that we ended up getting pregnant. Mm-hmm. To our own surprise, with Luna Mia, and it was interesting. It was interesting because life changes right away. We already had our son. when I met Micah, he was 4 going on 5, so I didn't have to go through the diaper stage and raising an infant. And so that was all a new experience. That's changing diapers and sleepless nights, obviously.
Yeah.
Then 18 months later, we get a second surprise.
This time I didn't know again, just that we were not the best. I thought I was like following my cycle, downloaded the app. I'm going to be more in control of my body. Well, I wasn't. So, we all know how babies are conceived. So
Youthful exuberance took over. So it turned out that we were pregnant with our second baby, which was Nova Bella. She was born in 2020. And so this was, shortly after the pandemic of 2020 had kicked off. But luckily, she was born very happily. I was in the delivery room when it happened, and it was one of the most intense experiences of my life. I'm sure she could say the same, probably 100 times as much, right? But
yeah, it was a great experience for that, especially during that hard time. During COVID, what did we all do? Watch TV, right? Because we were stuck indoors. So we started watching this show called International House Hunters. And for some reason, I don't know why, that's just sparked my interest. I'm like, wow, these families can do it. If they can uproot their families from the US and move abroad, like, why can't we? Like, look at the Spain one, look at the Portugal, look how beautiful these countries are, and look how food is healthier, all these things that we're tying hand in hand with all of this. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start my own company. And this is how we're going to be able to move abroad. So then another child was born, aka my business baby. And I started doing accounting work and just building up my clientele, working really hard.
But when she started to talk about maybe moving out of the country, she was pregnant, and we had Luna, and Micah was in high school. And we had recently purchased a home. Yeah. We had everything we needed, right? So we were very comfortable. And so the idea of picking up and moving abroad to me was as foreign as the country we would move to, right? It was a very foreign idea. But of course, things change as your children grow and your priorities change. But she had planted the seed at that point where she said, hey, maybe one day we can move abroad. And I was like, sure, sweetheart, sure. I just thought it was a consequence or a product of her watching International House Hunters for, 5 hours a day. And so, yeah, it just didn't seem like it was very realistic. But then eventually, our son graduates. And he decides he wants to attend university in England. And so, which was eye-opening for us because we wanted him to stay in a state school somewhere close to us where we can help him if he needs our help. But the bird's got to fly, and you got to let these kids spread their wings. And so he went to England. As a matter of fact, she went with him to England. And while she was there, I went with my parents 5 hours south from where we were living. And I stayed with them with the 2 little girls so they could help me with them. And so we were apart for about a week. And in that week that I was visiting my parents, my mom had been on a transplant list for a new kidney. And, well, she got the call. She got the call from the hospital, from the transplant center saying, hey, we have a kidney for you. You need to be here by tomorrow. And so I packed my girls up, I packed my mom up, and we drove in the car 4 hours back home to San Antonio, which is where the transplant center was, to get her new kidney. And in that car ride, she told me, I spent all my time with you guys. And now that I look back, I felt like it wasn't enough time. And it hit me so hard because she was with us all the time with 6 kids, And for her to say that she felt like it wasn't enough time made me analyze the 2 little girls that were asleep in the car seats in the back. Like, what am I doing with them? And so I started to think at that point, okay, maybe I need to start to reassess my priorities here. We got my mom to San Antonio. As fortunate as she was to get the kidney, she was unfortunate in the sense that her body just couldn't take the surgery. She didn't survive the surgery. And so that's when I really, really started to think about my life, our lives, and what we were doing. And it made me realize that life is fleeting. It goes by so quickly. And as we get older, it seems to speed up. And so once that happened, I really sat back and, of course, during the grieving process, just analyzed everything that I was doing, all the steps I was taking in my life. and what financial success would lead to for me, but what it would lead to for my children. If I'm stuck at work trying to achieve a certain goal, what am I giving them? And so at that point is when I realized, yeah, I'm living my life all wrong here. My children are growing up very quickly, and I don't want to miss out being with them, just being with them for the simple things. When they wake up and they come sit on my lap and just hug me, or when I put them to bed, or when I pick them up from school, those small things is what I didn't want to miss out on. And so that's when I told my wife, we're moving to Spain. Let's start getting things together. And so we started the process.
And so, of course, then I realized, oh, okay, now this dream is coming true. Like literally that year, the digital nomad visa rolled out, and it allows us to make American dollars while living in Spain. And so that would be our avenue in. And so with new visas, the paperwork was 30 pages long. And we had to start looking for lawyers. I started joining Facebook groups. It just became this full-time job of seeing how we were going to make this dream happen. And so, we found a great immigration lawyer, and he's going to take care of all the paperwork for us. And then we had to get everything translated. And then it was just one of those things that I felt like when we opened up the floodgates of this dream of us moving, everything just started rolling and rolling and rolling. And we did start to tell our family and our friends, like, hey, like, we are going to go on a new adventure. We're just going to sell everything and start over in a new country. And they're just like, no, wait, what? No, you're not. That's one of your big dreams. Okay, whatever. Like kind of brushed it aside thinking we weren't going to do it.
Right. That was a reaction from a lot of people. Some people took us seriously. Most didn't. Most were like, well, why would you move to Spain? Do you know anybody in Spain? We were like, no. Have you ever been to Spain? No. They were like, well, why would you move to Spain? And, so it was easy for people to just brush it aside and not believe us. But we stuck to our guns, to use that phrase. But it wasn't an easy decision, right? To uproot your family and move 7,000 miles away and where you don't know anyone. We didn't do it just her and I. We took our two little ones, right? So to uproot them and remove or take them far away from their friends and their cousins and everything, it was a very, very tough decision for us to make, for sure. It wasn't easy at all. But we knew that we came here with the chance of failure, that we might not like Valencia, Spain, that we might not form a community, that our children might hate it. All those things were possibilities. But we also know that growth and maturity happens with experience, right? You have to go through some tough stuff. You have to put yourself in challenging situations so you can flourish and so you can grow. I mean, we have grown. I think in the 9 months that we've been here, we've formed a new community. We've learned the local language and how things are done here and adjusted to it. And we see it with our children as well. Our two little girls are not the same two little girls that left San Antonio. Yeah. They have a whole new friend group, and they speak like the Valencianos here with the oye papi hombre and madre mia, vale, and it's fun to watch because we've seen how they've grown, and it's amazing. And that's why we did this, to experience something different.
And I think I've always had that mentality of let's just do it, let's see what happens kind of situation. And it's great that he has that mentality with me, because then this wouldn't have worked. I felt like maybe I might have been like a little clustered and just not been able to like flourish the way I have with him on my side. And like he said, I do hold tremendous gratitude that we are Americans, that we lived in the United States, because it's given us the room and the opportunity to do this. And so that's why I don't want people to think that we're taking it for granted and just wanting to leave. I just feel like this life is so much more than just being stagnant in one place. We want to have this adventure. We want to grow. We want to experience all the things that life has for us.
And that is a bit of our story. It's not the whole story, but it's a bit of our story, the condensed version. But we do want to thank you guys for all your stories that you guys share with us in the comments. Your stories are amazing. From our last video, we've gotten, I think by now, about 2,000 comments. And we're very appreciative because we read as many of them as we can, and we try to respond to as many of them as we can. And we everybody has a different perspective. Just like we have a story, you guys have a story as well. And we love to read them. We love to hear from you guys.
Our gratitude towards you guys is just tremendous. It's just, we love it. And we just are so appreciative that you guys are joining us and following our journey and helping us to grow.
Yeah, we really do appreciate it, guys. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below for future content. And please don't forget to watch our other videos. And if you have any suggestions, reach out to us via our socials, reach out via the comment section. And we'll see you guys soon. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.